Hello and welcome to the RWBY radio podcast, ladies, gentlemen, and non-binary pals. I'll be very honest here. Wasn't expecting to bring the podcast back this early. The original plan was I'd do a podcast around about RTX and then do one podcast a month up until the next volume starts. And then the world kind of happened. And all those plans went out the window. So originally I wasn't gonna do a podcast, I don't think, until probably next month or the one after, until we got some concrete news. But of course Arryn Zech and Miles have got to drop some bombshells on us out of nowhere. So we may as well get on and talk about them. This is probably gonna be a lot more, I say, relaxed and chilled. I'm intending for this to be more relaxed and chilled than normal. If you've ever listened to one of these podcasts before, you know that's probably not going to happen.
John, with us, relaxed and chill is a pipe dream.
Yeah.
But we can try. We can try.
Yeah, so there'll just be some generic RWBY clips from 6 and 7 playing on the screen right now. Just hopefully this will chill. Anyway, my two guests are the wonderful DarnSkippyTootin.
Hello.
And the wonderful Bethany, aka BloodRaven.
Hello.
So, were you two expecting Miles to launch that at our heads out of nowhere?
I think the best way I can describe it is that I felt like it's basically, I was like in a catatonic state of like, and then suddenly the smell of my favorite coffee bean woke me up.
That's
unexpectedly.
That's a nice way.
And then I found out there was a plague going on in the world.
Oh, that's so if you don't know, I tentatively will slap a spoiler warning on the screen. The Talk RWBY to Me podcast that's been going on, which if you haven't watched it, it's quite interesting, quite a nice thing to listen to. The final one of the current series they're doing, because they've not said if this is like a permanent thing or if this is a one-off. Kerry had on Miles, Casey, and Eddie, the four writers, and Miles revealed that the entirety of Volume 8 will take place within one 48-hour period over 2 days.
Yeah. That was
well, thing. I mean, to be fair, like a greater half of Volume 7 also took place in the span of like one night. Yeah. So like, it makes sense, especially since Raven is right there. But
yeah. I was gonna say you're definitely right. It's not the first time they've done this. Like, if you think about Volume 1, I think is it 4 of the episodes of Volume 1 take place in one day. If you're thinking about like the initiation between them true. Arriving, them doing the trial.
Yeah, that's very true. Also, just like Volume 3 too. Like from episode what was it, 8 to, was it 13 or it was 12? 8 to 12. That was also all in just one day.
You then got the same with Volume 2, where the finale is over, I think, like 6 hours. Like the train, like finding the underground base, etc. And then also Volume 5, where like the giant fight takes place over 4 episodes. So it's not exactly like this is a completely new concept to RWBY. It's just never on this scale. And it's kind of terrifying to think of the, what's the right word? Ramifications?
Yeah. See, I'm kind of happy about that because, like, I mean, one, it makes sense considering Salem just arrived on her giant whale, but two, it means that, like, when you have a volume that in terms of, like, the runtime, the number of episodes is longer, but in terms of the time covered in universe is shorter, it means you have way more time to include, like, the downbeats between kind of big moments. So, because you don't have to worry about, like, rushing stuff from point A to point B as quickly. So I'm actually quite pleased about that, because I feel like it will give them a chance to include more of like the kind of smaller moments that they couldn't include, like say Volume 7 or whatever, for obvious, because there was too much plot stuff happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that coupled with also the fact that they mentioned that the volume 8 will have more like pairing moments, and also the fact that I think they also mentioned that this volume is a lot more complicated than other volumes.
Yeah.
It does like give, what's it called? It does promise a very hefty volume.
Well, if you think about like so far it's the overall plot of RWBY has been over arcs. Beacon arc, Minster arc, then this is the Atlas arc. With the Beacon arc, the major part of that was the final volume of that, Volume 3. For the Mistral arc, the main part of it was 5, because Volume 6 was setting up the next arc, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I get the feeling, again, with this, as I mentioned before, 9 is going to be shorter so that 8 can be longer. And I'm guessing 9 will be setting up Vacuo.
Yeah,
so
that's what I thought.
This is like the main part of what is for this arc. This is the main course we're getting for these 3 volumes, and it is a terrifying notion. The big thing, if any of you were foolish enough and crazy enough to listen to the last podcast before the hiatus, where Bethany, Skippy, me, also Empress of Edge, Sparks Rise, and Captain Introvy, we talked about the finale, and we went slightly off the rails a little. We did talk about our theories for what was going to go on, and one of the things we did, I think you actually brought this up, Bethany. You brought up, like, how is this going to extend over a large time frame if Salem is already there? And I'm in his.
Well, the answer is it's not. Which makes sense. Yeah.
Which brings us to once Miles Luna suplexed us all with that one. It was the question of who's next, and of course Arryn Zech, with absolute style and finesse, goes to bat and utterly destroys us all. As she is, I'm pretty sure, from what she said, that she is the last person of the RWBY voice cast to do her lines, I believe. I know that...
I think that sounds right.
Lindsay and Barbara both done theirs a while back. So Kara's done hers.
Yeah.
So yeah, because of, the whole world situation, it's a little harder to get stuff done. But she's put out a series of tweets and Instagram things that have sent us all crazy. Her reaction to the Volume 8 script, of which, of course, Eddie and Kiersey getting on the fun, because they all love torturing us. And then the picture she shared on Instagram, where it's her in the recording booth saying that she's finished, and she has a box of tissues in there with her. What does that mean? What does that mean?
It means we're going to die, John. That's what it means.
I think... See, initially I was like... I didn't actually think much of it, because, like, I keep tissues nearby a lot of the time, in case, like, in my room, whatever. But then, I think she did, like, a live stream, either later that day or the next day or whatever. And she confirmed that she had cried while doing her lines, and that there was one line in particular which really, like, got to her emotionally, and so now I'm like, okay.
I feel like I'm more concerned about the whole, like, screaming thing.
I mean that too, but like, is it just normal fight screaming, or is it?
Yeah, that could be it too.
As she brought up another tweet, she said that she was originally intending to stream. I think this was on Brain Kickin' Thursday, and she said originally she was going to stream, and then she threw up a tweet saying, "Stream will have to be tomorrow. I didn't realise how much today's recording session would take it out of me. I need a glass of wine after all that screaming.
Yeah.
Fear.
It's just fear.
Yeah, just
Especially,
general
like-
fear, honestly.
And I don't think it really helps like that one like promo photo we saw from was it Crunchyroll of like the bee of Ruby being sliced.
I mean,
And-
yeah, although
and-
that, to be fair, that was for like volume 7, so
Well, sure. But then you did also have like the parallel of they did the same in volume 5 with the W, and then Weiss got impaled.
true.
So it leads to the fact that now that Arryn has teased this several times, and of course everyone else is getting on the act, Neform has also finished his lines of, because if Arryn's not teasing us, Neef is next in line. Like, he is always willing to send us insane with cryptic hints. It brings us to a few theory ideas. The one I want to bring up first is, if I can find it, is that Arryn said in her stream the other day that I'm just trying to find the exact quote. She said something along the lines, she was watching the final season of She-Ra, which if you haven't watched, I'd strongly suggest you go watch, and we'll probably might spoil in a moment.
It's amazing!
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, you
Skippy,
should.
get on it!
Yeah, I was going to say, you already know, you've already been spoiled on everything that happened, so just no problem.
Yeah, basically.
You're feeling as a lesbian.
Excuse you.
I'm joking.
I know.
Okay,
I
moving
won't
on.
know
As I was, you've completely fucking thrown me now. Ah. Anyway, she mentions, I believe, I apologize. I'll try and get the post I found it from, or if I can, a bit from the stream where she says this. That there's a small thing that Blake is going to. I'm not sure if it was either have done to her or she's going to do in the next volume that Catra does in season 5. Theories on what that might be, because the biggest question is Arryn playing us all for fools, and it's like she's like, oh, it's only a small thing, it's just a little kiss. How did it end up like this? How did it end up like this?
Because I missed her.
Yeah. Anyway, or is it actually something small?
See, okay, so
like Aaron's exact words were like, that it was something that Catra went through that Blake is gonna do.
Yeah,
which is small. So
my two theories, personally, assuming she's telling the truth about it not being a really major thing, were either Blake is gonna get like either attacked with water in some form or stranded in a place with lots of water, or Blake is gonna have to like disguise herself and infiltrate somewhere. Those were my two theories, but we'll see.
Yeah, I was thinking either like she gets a coat, or she gets a pet panther.
I mean, those would also be good options.
Oh, maybe she purrs. I didn't even think of that.
Oh.
But that wouldn't really be something that Catra went through, though, so maybe not.
No, yeah, I wouldn't really. Yeah, I mean, she did it, but she
But,
didn't,
like, is
go
it- what-
through it.
What did she go through in season 5?
I mean, there was the time that she got like
Yeah,
Right.
electrocuted, tortured,
electrocuted,
yeah.
tortured, but mind control,
But it's...
the one,
indoctrinated into a creepy cult forcibly.
before we provide far too much angst for fanfic writers.
Yeah.
The one both of you mentioned before we start the podcast, when we were just chatting about this, is there is a scene, spoilers. We've already got spoilers on screen, but whatever.
Very.
Is
big
that-
spoilers?
There is a scene where Catra jumps into fire to pull Adora out.
Oh.
Now I'm thinking,
Yeah.
is it just a bit where like she runs through fire? Because that
I
would
could
fit.
dig that.
Because
I could dig that. That would be neat.
What was the wording you said it was, Skippy? It was something
It was
she
like-
goes through.
Yeah. Well, like, it went through.
Went through? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. She went through the fire.
Yeah, she said there's something Blake's kind of gonna do next volume that Catra went through. So, but it's a small thing. So that I could see that maybe
Like
too.
there's a Grim like shooting fire at Yang or one of the team, and Blake like pulls them out of the way. Like,
well, I'm imagining that shot now of where like you have like the fire like consumes the screen and then Blake just like runs through. Oh god, that would be. Damn it! Now you made me want that, John. It would be so cool.
Eddie, this one's all on you. You can have it. It's any member of RWBY. There you go. So
Copyrighted.
This brings us generally onto theories. This is again, as I mentioned, the massive, far too long podcast we did at the end of the last volume. We talked about some of these. I briefly want to touch upon the one I had at the time. Not to be, I'm going to let my complete stupid ego get in the way here. Talk about my own theory first. We went over the idea of Salem taking Atlas immediately.
Yeah.
And it's hunting down Team RWBY through Mantle. This is the big thing I've got right now. Whilst I don't exactly see that fully happening now because it's a shorter time frame. So Team RWBY, Team Juniper, Maria, Pietro, and that's them in the airship. I can't see them landing back on Atlas. So I'm guessing they're probably either going to crash or purposely land in Mantle.
Yeah.
So I get the feeling that either it's going to be their first objective or it's going to be the final mission of like this volume is they're going to somehow have to fight their way onto Atlas. Because bear in mind, Atlas, whilst there is technically a relic locked securely in a vault, there is one relic completely out in the open that Salem is very close to having in her own personal hands. They have several of their allies trapped up there. And there's a lot of innocent people up there who are probably still going to die. There's also a lot of innocent people down in Mantle who are still probably going to die. So...
Yeah. I was actually thinking, because as far as like Team RWBY are concerned, like they kind of have enemies on all sides. Even like we have both the Grim and the Atlas military who have put a hit on them. Basically, they are enemies of the state. So actually, what I was thinking, I thought it was interesting. But like, what if it's like this volume ends up being kind of like a guerrilla warfare kind of thing?
That would be
that would be very interesting.
I was gonna say, especially if they manage to regroup with the Happy Huntresses minus Robin, of course, because their home turf, so to speak, advantage and all. The thing that everyone has pointed out by now is that there's a lot of the characters. All the characters in RWBY have some sort of allusion to either mythological beings, fairy tale stories, fables, etc., etc. Penny's is Pinocchio, and Pietro's is Geppetto. Geppetto? I think I'm saying that correctly.
Yeah.
Which they get eaten by a whale. Spoilers for Pinocchio, a movie from 1936, is it? Whatever.
Damn it, John! I was going to read that. Thanks for nothing.
Yeah, and it's a book. Yeah, it's a book, so I keep forgetting that. So the question is, how likely do you see it is that Penny gets eaten by the whale or fights the whale?
I mean, I think it's very likely that she fights the whale because the whole maiden power thing.
Yeah, that seems like a big probability at this point.
The question is, does she survive fighting the whale?
Yes.
Maybe we won't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be a cliffhanger.
Yeah, I don't see her dying again though. I don't see what would be the point.
I could see her dying in the sense that like her death will result in Pietro literally giving up his life so she can live again.
Yeah.
Maybe. That would. Yeah.
That's the one thing I was thinking is if you have a situation where both Pietro and Penny are in there, and Penny's tried to like, I doubt she's gonna try and 1v1 a whale, but like she's tried to fight the whale. She's been broken and nigh on destroyed, and Pietro gives the rest of his aura to save her. Because he has, I'm gonna say it, of literally any character in RWBY right now, he has the most death flags over him. Like, more than Maria, than anyone, like, any member of Team Stark, any member of the main cast. He's got, like, 20 million flying above his head right now.
Yeah, basically. Speaking of Team Stark, though...
Do you think we will see the return of Raven or Taeyang?
I feel like if it was going to be any volume, I feel like this would be the one.
I kind of really want Raven to show up again, and the thing with her is that that she easily could because of her semblance.
It's interesting because we don't know what there's roughly between last we saw her when she arrives back on Patch and Taeyang sees her. There is now been a gap of 2, nearly 3 months, I think, in the story. I might be wrong on that. People in comments correct me if I am. It's at least 1 month. I think it's approaching 2, maybe 3.
Yeah.
We don't know what their interactions have been.
No.
It could be literally she's flown onto Patch and Taeyang is just like, you ain't gonna talk to me. Flip of the bird, literally. I ain't gonna talk to you.
I mean, we're assuming that she even went anywhere near the house and didn't just immediately teleport on back to the tribe from Patch.
But we don't really know. But we don't really know if she has any like connection to anyone in her tribe, because I feel like if she did, then she would just have like teleport to them from the beginning.
Bernal was her link to the tribe, but then Bernal was dead, which is why she went to Patch in the first place. But like, I'm just saying, we don't. I honestly could imagine that she maybe didn't even like go and even like anywhere near Ty. Like he noticed that she had like come past and then she just like left.
That's the situation we got, because we've got potentially she could have just left. She could have just flown away, or she could have been on Patch this time with Taeyang. And I'm gonna suggest that if she has spent time with Taeyang of some sort, I'd say it probably makes it more likely that she will re-show up. Partially because I can imagine that regardless of what Raven does, if she lets slip that she thinks Yang is in danger, Taeyang is probably going to force her to take at least him to Atlas to go help Yang.
Yeah, but I do think it would connect really well too if she didn't even like teleport immediately to Yang, but actually teleported to Crow. Because Crow has had this whole like arc going on for like volume 7 of him and Clover growing a close friendship, but then of course ended in the way it ended.
Yeah.
And just like him feeling like it's the universe once again proving him right that he's meant to never have like a legitimate partner or a legitimate team. And then I just think it would be like a really like kind of like
to see his team arrive.
Yeah, exactly. To see his team arrive and then them actually coming together and like actually being the team that they once were, even without Summer.
I
think it could be really neat.
It could also provide a useful way for them to break Crow and Robin out of jail with that too.
Imagine the situation
oh my god,
got.
Raven and Ty just appear in the cell and then Robin's like, who the fuck are they?
You just have the Happy Huntresses burst through like one wall.
Oh god,
Tyrion comes through the door for what? And at the same time they all teleport and it's just like...
No. Let me make this even better. So you have the Happy Huntresses breaking in to break out Robin. You have Tyrion breaking in to break out Watts. You have Marrow and Winter going to break out Crow and Robin because they've decided to defect. And then Raven and Ty appear in the cell and they're all in the room just staring at each other.
It's amazing.
These like 4 different all come together. Oh god, that would be so great. I really want that now. Like, just the levels of hilarity.
Yeah, oh god. I'm both like excited but also terrified because literally anything could happen.
Oh
yeah. This is, I've learnt my lesson from like before. I'm trying not to like make too like many firm predictions and stuff because I'm just like I know that I'm like I might get 1 or 2 things right, but mostly I'm probably just going to be horribly wrong. So I'm just like
I say when it comes to making predictions for RWBY, 2 things should always be kept in mind. One is even when you're making the predictions or when you're listening to one, always take them with a pinch of salt, as the saying goes. Like, it's literal guesswork. And second of all, with me personally, and I hope you and everyone else having this podcast, we don't mean them 200% serious. We're not
Oh,
completely convinced.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure most of the theories I've ever said, I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I'm 2% sure on this.
I mean, I don't really think there's going to be 4 different groups
Yeah.
breaking in.
No, I am absolutely 100% sure Blake is getting a Ted Panther, John.
Oh, man.
Anyway.
Blake's going to get splashed with water, I'm calling.
Anyway, if I could add some sense of the corner for 1 second. You absolutely throw me. I completely forgot what I was going to say.
I'm sorry.
What was it? Yeah, the one theory I have that I'm fairly that I'd say I'm 20%, I got a 20% likeliness on happening, is that the start of the volume is going to be them in Mantle, and it's going to be some sort of fight up to Atlas for the majority of the group. Because either some of them get captured, Penny gets captured, etc, etc, etc. They need to get the relic back, whatever. One for you. This is less theories, more spitballing ideas. How do they kill the Grim Whale? The 3 theories I've seen so far is Silver Eyes, Penny, or you drop Atlas on it. Those are the 3 I've seen so far.
Dropping Atlas on it could be fun.
Would probably break Atlas though, and it means you had to get the relic out of the vault and lower the whale underneath it.
And also a lot of fucking people would die.
Yeah, I'm assuming that they've managed to get people out of Atlas first. Like, evacuate Atlas and then drop it, and get the relic and then drop it on the whale.
See, that's the thing though. They've just spent the last, I'd say 6 hours canonically in the series, in like in the volume, of evacuating people out of Mantle onto Atlas.
Yeah, that is a problem. That is a problem.
I do think that even if it is a bit cliche, I do think that the Silver Eyes thing is plausible. But I do think that Ruby turning the whale into stone might be like a kind of callback to the, how do you pronounce it? Wyvern? What the fuck? The Wyvern from Volume 3 that was just like inside a mountain for some reason.
Yeah. See, I did see I think you said this, Skippy. Yeah, I think you said this to me a while back. Like, the idea that the reason it didn't like live in the mountain. It isn't like a D&D thing where the dragon went in when it was small and grew bigger. It was that Wyvern got stunned by a silver-eyed huntress or hunter, like thousands of years ago. It didn't kill it. It just encased it in stone, and the mountain grew around it. So you never know, but like, that's a big effing Grim. Like, it was as long as the city by the looks of it.
Yeah, exactly. So I do think that like it could maybe not like what's it called?
Enclose
it completely, but maybe like do the thing that she also did with the Wyvern and just like
petrify it. Exactly.
But I feel like because it is of such a big size, it probably would have pretty big ramifications for RWBY.
I would like to see a size comparison of it, because I'm saying it's bigger than a city, but we haven't actually seen it like properly measured, because the only shots we've seen is from a far out distance when we're comparing it to when the Grim look very small against it, and those Grim we know are quite big up close, like the Sphinx. It will be interesting to see like its actual size comparison. If it's like big enough to like full on just fly and chomp on Atlas, like a Freshamore, or if it's like a little smaller and it's more like either you two watch the Avengers, the first film, you know those weird lizard things that come out of flying lizard like snake things?
I know
like that
size.
It'll be interesting to see.
Well, actually, in like relation to that, I do think it's like interesting to see like what is Salem actually going to do, because she wants the relic and she can't really get it if she just like destroys Atlas outright.
Again, this is what we mentioned previous podcast. She needs the relic. She doesn't need the maidens. She needs the relics. The maidens are like a side thing to getting what she wants. She will leave the question of what happens to the vault doors if you destroy the vault door. Like, does like that portal get closed? We'll leave that discussion for another time. She can't, as we literally mentioned this, you can't destroy Atlas or she can't get what she wants. But evidently she's going for Atlas because that is where the military might is, and that is she can secure what she needs, but she just doesn't have the key, so to speak. This is why I think it's going to be Salem taking Atlas and hunting them down through Mantle.
Well, yeah, I do agree. But there's also something I'm wondering, like, what is Ironwood going to do now that, well, the staff is out of his reach?
Will he?
And I was like thinking, and I don't think there's any like really chance of it being possible, but I do think like, but maybe still, what if he tries to make like a bargain with Salem to save Atlas?
Ooh, potentially. He did seem very frightened of her. But
exactly.
The one thing I would say against that is the one Ironwood has shown that he has a, no pun intended, iron will, like, to beating Salem. He just doesn't want to lose. And that's one of the reasons, like, he clashed against RWBY, he's willing to do whatever. He's willing to sacrifice all the lives down in Mantle. So I'm not sure if it would be interesting to see, like, full circle of kind of becoming the coward, but I feel it will be more. This is something I was going to bring into. Who do you think's going to die? My one's got to be Ironwood's going to die. I can easily see a final stand on the academy, like just trying to take on as many Grimm as he can, as Salem herself just comes up and just rips him apart, like. I think I mentioned the possibility of him just like straight up shooting himself, but maybe that's a bit too dark. It's a little, but like again, would the Aesop stay loyal to him as they like do a final stand?
Well, I mean, I feel like I don't see Harriet defecting, but Marrow and Elm maybe. Vine, I can't even get a read on Vine.
I mean, I can definitely see Marrow. I don't really know about the other three.
Yeah.
I mean, Elm was like she got like Vine called her out for like going soft on them, so that like I feel like they were sort of trying to indicate that she actually had a lot, like didn't really want to fight them deep
but
down
as
either.
far as, yeah, I agree. But as far as if she's actually willing to actually do something about that,
I agree. I'm just saying that like in terms of the two who they've done some amount of like hinting that maybe. Like, yeah, I don't know. Marrow's the only one who I think it's really likely he'll defect, but
he's gonna become a happy huntress.
I want that. That would be awesome.
What was I gonna mention? I could potentially see like Ironwood's final thing, not redemption, but the sort of thing of him realizing, oh shit, I've messed up, and his final orders is just everyone abandon ship. I'm just gonna try and 1v1 Salem and the Grimm and to buy time.
I mean, that does sound like something he would do.
Like that's I don't see it because of how far he's gone down the path, but to me it sounds very much like his vein, like his sort of thing. Like, I'll never admit my wrong, but I'll try and do something slightly better for my last act. Like, which could also lead to a vengeful Aesops what remains of the Aesops going up against RWBY and co. So, the question I mentioned a while back, who do you think is most likely to die? Aside from Ironwood. We've all apparently written Ironwood off.
Yeah.
I mean, it's also Pietro. Like, we were literally just saying about how he has a million.
Yeah, I think those two are very definite. Anyone else?
I mean, I don't. Yeah.
The one I've seen a few times. I've seen some people mention Crow. I don't see it being Crow.
No, I don't think Crow.
I think Crow.
No, you see, you know who is very likely to die? Blake, absolutely, 100%. It's written in the stars. Blake is absolutely going to die. The fandom said so.
The show becomes RWBY.
The show is retitled RWBY.
The theories of one of the main cast dying keep going around simply because we have the staff of creation in play.
I know. Yeah,
There is one thing I would like to see of that whole thing. I would find, not potentially this volume, but a volume coming up, if any of the team has it. It would be interesting to see Jean debate bringing Pyrrha back and deciding that, like, realizing it is not what Pyrrha would have wanted, and it would not make, like, it is not what would help his team. Because I feel, really, it's the only one that makes sense. I don't see, like, any of the cast dying and them using the relic to bring them back. It just doesn't, I don't know why, it just doesn't click in my head.
It would feel kind of
cheap. Yeah, it would just feel like a waste of time. Like, okay,
well,
what changed?
Here's the thing, right? Because here's the thing, like, okay, so here's the thing. How, if with another character like John, Rendor, like, maybe, but with the main four, it's like, well, the title characters, like, if any of them die, it's going to be right at the very, very end of the last volume. Like, it's not going to be before that. So everyone would just be sitting there like, oh, okay, well, come on, bring them back. Like, that reminds me of this.
That's the thing. Like, we still don't know what exactly the staff does. The fact that it bringing back people from the dead is still just a theory.
True. But, like, that idea reminds me too much of, like, a scene in the second Percy Jackson movie, which, as we all know, they were really bad. But
that was the second one?
Yeah, sadly. But anyway, so Annabeth, there's a scene which they just inserted, which wasn't in the book, which they inserted for no reason, where Annabeth, like, seemingly dies, while Percy is right there with the Golden Fleece, which its known power is bringing people back to life, and he's literally right there, and, like, it takes him a good 5 minutes where they have this drawn out death scene for her before he just uses it and brings it back, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, what is the point? Like, we all know that you're not gonna die because there's a thing right that, like, so it would remind me too much of that, I think, in some ways. Like, it would just feel kind of like a waste of time that they could have done something better with it. So yeah, I don't see any of the main four. Like, I can see maybe, like, a significant injury among the main four or something, but not, like, full on, like, death scare levels.
Can I provide you all with something very angsty?
Oh,
Sure.
God.
As the theory that has been around for a long time is that all the Team Juniper at some point will kick the bucket, as their analogies, yes, they're all characters who have disguised themselves as the opposite gender. They're also all characters who die in their respective mythologies and fiction.
Yeah.
And in real life, in the case of Joan of Arc. Again, I apologise on behalf of the English. Here's the other theory that's often gone around is that Nora will be the one to claim the Staff of Creation, as when they picked up the relics in the initiation, she was the second person after Yang. Which, if I think the exact order goes Yang, Nora, Jean, RWBY, I think that's the order.
I think it might be RWBY Sean.
RWBY Jean, yeah.
It might be one too.
What about the fear? And we mentioned this a while back. Just I think it was myself, Skippy, and Empress of Edge. The idea that it's mentioned that only the maidens can seal the vaults, so they can also open them, they can also close them.
Yeah.
And the reason that the one in Haven wasn't closed is because Raven pieced out.
Yeah.
What about the thought of the fight happens down in the vault, they open it, and they all run in, like, some of them have to run into the next area to get the thing, and they're fighting in there. And they get the scepter, spear, whatever you want to call it, staff, that's the name, my brain clicked. And they realise they've got to close it, and full critical roll, spoilers if you haven't got to this bit, critical roll, by the way, Nora has to throw the staff out to Ren, because she realises she won't get out in time and traps herself in there with one of the bad guys as Penny seals it.
Oh boy.
Just the thought of, or you could switch it around and it's Ren trapped to Nora, and just the idea of, think Doctor Who, like, banging on the wall, the door.
Oh no, don't remind me of, oh God, no.
Just imagine that Ren and Nora.
Stop!
In the vault.
I don't want to think about that.
Just as they compress their life. Like, that could be the moment. Like, that happens, it seals, and it's just like...
Bro, what are you doing?
It's just...
Bro.
That has been stuck in my head for a while, and I don't want it to be true, but it would be an amazing scene.
Yeah, but dude, like, no. No.
Anyway, I don't think there's anything else to say.
There's always something more to say.
If you say what I think you're about to say, holy shit, we're gonna kick off.
Why, John, whatever could that be?
Nothing! Anyway!
To the window!
Cutting this all. Anyway, so I...
Was it worth it, Skippy?
It was. It was always worth it.
Anyway, that calls a wrap on this week's podcast. Thank you very much for listening. I will be back at some point, probably next month. I'll probably keep these going maybe once a month, maybe a little bit more regularly, depending on how much news we get. Until, of course, we get back in with next volume, of course, and then we will go back to having a podcast once per week, of which I'm sure both my wonderful guests would be up for joining me, hopefully, again.
Of course.
Busy.
Skippy!
Of course I would. Of course I would.
I just got
Always like this.
delayed.
Jesus Christ.
Anyway, I was going to say, like, hey, you can find these people on social media, but don't bother, they're not worth it. Nah,
Hey!
just kidding. You can find the wonderful DarnSkippyTootin and BloodRaven at the links that will be down below. I strongly suggest going and having a look at their wonderful social media and getting to know them.
Oh, you don't want to do that? I'm joking. Feel free.
Anyway, I think that's everything for you to yell anything more about thirsting over women or articles of clothing. Nope, nothing. Good. Anyway.
I do actually have one thing. It was great to be here.
Thank you. Apparently not for Bethany, but hey ho, we're all with it.
She has to think a moment to deliberate.
Anyway, thank you very much, ladies, gentlemen, and non-binary pals, for coming back on the RWBY Radio podcast. We will be back hopefully next month to see you again. Until then, please remember, be polite, be nice to everyone. Make sure that you have a wonderful day, and whatever you do, be RWBY, not Salem. Goodbye.
Bye.